Hello, my name is Morgan and I'm currently a student with Liberty University Online studying Communications 101. My purpose today is to persuade you in refraining from cell phone activities while driving. Engaging in cell phone use while behind the wheel of a car is very dangerous, and a recent report shared that 8 out of 10 Americans use their cell phone while driving. Did you realize that talking on the cell phone while driving is the equivalent of driving intoxicated? How many of you in my audience today use your cell phone while driving? How many of you actually believe that if you're using your cell phone, you can be 100% focused on activities happening around you and on the road? I personally have had 2 accidents directly related to cell phone use while driving. In the second accident, my youngest daughter was in the car with me. Both of these accidents could have been prevented if I had just set my cell phone down. I agree, cell phones are convenient for car use and they can save time in returning calls while you're in the car, but I personally have decided there is no human life that is not as valuable as receiving or making a phone call. During the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you how cell phone use in the car is gaining momentum with legislation, how cell phone use while driving causes driver distraction, how cell phone use while driving can result in your death, and a few ways for you to successfully eliminate use of your cell phone in the car. According to an article featured in the New York Times, lawmakers have proposed over 200 bills regarding cell phone use, and analysts predict that this number will continue to rise. Also, there's an increasing number of states that are going to require information regarding cell phone use from accident participants. Also shared in the New York Times is a recent poll that stated 90% or more of Americans believe that cell phone use in the car should be illegal. And at the beginning of 2010, there were already 19 states with text messaging bans while driving and 7 states with handheld bans. It really shouldn't take laws to enforce and prohibit cell phone use while driving. It has been proven time and time again that cell phone use results in driver distraction. An article featured in Current Directions in Psychological Science shared research that proved that if a driver was using their cell phone, they were more likely to detect traffic signals. And those traffic signals that they did detect, they had an increased response time. I know what you're sitting there thinking. Well, I'll just use my Bluetooth or another handheld device. But according to the American Public Safety Committee, using a hands-free device or a handheld device is no different. You may argue that there isn't a difference between talking on the cell phone and talking to your passengers. Well, according to research conducted at Harvard, drivers that are talking with passengers are not as distracted as those engaging in cell phone conversations. If what I've shared with you thus far isn't enough to convince you to turn off your cell phone while behind the wheel, let me share a couple of startling statistics. Harvard recently reported that 1.6 million traffic accidents every year are attributed to cell phone use. The American Journal of Public Health shared that 1 in 6 fatal vehicle collisions are the direct result from driver distraction. I've already shared with you today that cell phone use leads to driver distraction. Lab studies have shown that there's a 30% increase of collisions while talking on the cell phone if you're driving. Now that I'm sure I've convinced you to eliminate cell phone use while driving, let me share a couple of pointers that will enable your efforts. Turn off or silence your phone before you even start the engine. If you must use your phone while in the car, pull over and park safely before you even start the conversation. Educate and encourage your family and friends to leave their phone out of reach while driving. To summarize, we've learned today how cell phone use while driving is gaining momentum with our legislation and how that number is going to increase, the number of bills that are going to increase regarding cell phone use. We've learned how cell phone use while driving leads to driver distraction. We've learned that cell phone use while driving can result in your death. We've also learned a couple of ways to successfully eliminate cell phone use in the car. I challenge each of you to stay safe behind the wheel. I challenge each of you to prevent unnecessary harm accidents, and death. I challenge you to remember the dangers of cell phone use while in the car. I challenge you to turn off your cell phone and encourage others to do the same. Most of all today, I challenge you to learn from my mistakes of using your cell phone while behind the wheel.